Here we are at the Lau Lau catchment. Lau Lau catchment is the most important water supply catchment for Central Highlands Water. We manage Lau Lau Reservoir in partnership with Barwon Water and the Corangamite Catchment Management Authority to secure our water future. The catchment in Lau Lau is highly agricultural, and we really need to work strongly with private landholders, farmers, public land managers to think about how they can affect water quality in the catchment.
So this year Central Highlands Water offered to partner with us on a project using their Working for Victoria team to help remove some willows from the Lau Lau Creek above the waterfalls.
And a willow can negatively affect a waterway system in a few different ways. So one of the ways is it can have an impact on flows. It can also affect the shape of a waterway. It can also affect biodiversity, the biodiversity of the surrounding waterway system and the plants and animals in the waterway itself, as well as on the banks. If you ever look at an Aussie waterway, you'll see that there aren't any actual major sized plants growing within the waterway itself. And that's why the willow's a bit special. It'll actually grow in a waterway. And when the water starts flowing around, you see this chewing out of the bank, this digging into the bank. And this sediment that's eroding and moving on downstream is the sediment that ends up in farm dams, it ends up in irrigation systems, it ends up in our drinking water as well. So it's basically costing people money to clean it out again. So the process of willow removal depends on the size of the willow, basically. Around here you've got some smaller ones, they're a couple of metres high, and you'd be comfortable spraying those. Or you might be doing some drill and fill, or cutting and painting.
Being such a popular and well-visited site, there's a lot of work goes into maintaining the environment within this reserve and ensuring it's healthy and displays the values that the people deserve here. The work of Central Highlands in partnering on this project has really helped improve the amenity of the site and improve the environmental programs that we're offering here.
Central Highlands Water is now exploring how we can support traditional owner groups in their management of cultural values in our waterways. So we will now partner with the Victorian Environmental Water Holder, who again, through engaging with traditional owners, can think about how we can add better flows to the river downstream of Lau Lau Reservoir.
So Lau Lau Reservoir stores a large quantity of water. That water is shared between three authorities: Barwon Water, Central Highlands Water and the Victorian Environmental Water Holder. So the Victorian Environmental Water Holder own that water, and it's just to be used to support environmental values. So the Corangamite Catchment Management Authority manages that water on their behalf and releases it to support ecological values in the river. We can support things like connecting and extending platypus habitat, fish habitat, supporting waterbug populations, which in turn are food for platypus and fish. We can send pulses of water down the river to trigger fish migrations for migratory species. We also need to do the complementary works like restoring the riverside habitat corridors, which is really important for biodiversity and water quality, and also removing fish barriers.
The Working for Victoria project and our Environmental Task Force is focusing on waterways as a key asset to manage and protect throughout the program. And it's a sample of what we'd like to do in the broader catchment with landholders in the fencing of waterways, the controlling of weeds and watering of stock away from waterways.
Working for Victoria team has been so important over the last 6 months. Whilst the volunteers were restricted because of COVID, they weren't able to go out and monitor. And so Working for Victoria teams have been able to take their place. And so we've been able to get valuable information in all parts of the catchment.
Waterwatch program, we test for 5 parameters of water quality health. So we're very interested in the temperature of the water. We're interested in dissolved oxygen, so how much oxygen is in the water. We want to know how salty the water is, so we also test for electrical conductivity. Phosphorus is a really important parameter for us as it's related to nutrient load. And one of the last things we test for is turbidity, so how clear the water is. Another component of the Waterwatch program is we do macroinvertebrate or water bug surveys. We're basically looking at the diversity, how many different types of bugs are in a waterway, and then we're also looking at the abundance, so how many of those different types of bugs. So overall, when we've done our survey and we've counted up all our scores, we're able to give a definitive, what's called a signal score, that rates the health of that waterway. So that's often really important for our waterway managers to make use of that data to see if interventions like revegetation or putting environmental water down a system, it's a way of monitoring whether those interventions are having a positive impact on water quality.
One of the things that's most important to Central Highlands Water is water quality. Providing such an important potable water supply to our community, we need to really understand the risks to our water supply. And they come in a number of forms. Physical risks such as turbidity and dirt and erosion from land uses in the catchment, pesticides and fertilisers, which need to be managed in balance with the whole of the catchment's land use. And we do that in a reliable way by testing the quality of our water regularly, by treating the water to a very high standard and ensuring that we understand what we need to do to secure safe drinking water for Ballarat District. The Working for Victoria program not only has delivered great on-ground work, but we've delivered some great training outcomes for our participants. We're really focusing on upskilling and deepening their learning and understanding and explore pathways in natural resource management, environmental management, wherever that may take them. I'm really proud of the Working for Victoria program and the work that has been undertaken by the crew. They've been a great bunch of people to work with, and together we've been able to deliver some great outcomes for our catchment and our customers.